Hi all, it's Palest, but you guys can call me Harry. I recently encountered two fascinating videos, one by a guy called Punk and one by a guy called Eighthoughts. I have a lot of respect for these two guys. And yeah, their videos are really thought-provoking, and I'll put the links in the description. In these videos, they've initiated a conversation regarding the hierarchy of sort of Call of Duty commentators in the community. They express the opinion that the door is pretty much shut for new commentators, kind of the party is over, if you like. Whether you diverge from the norm and sort of call into question our expectations and criticise the community, or whether you cuddle up to the influential figures in that community, you cannot be popular on a significant scale, they suggest. Seemingly, they don't doubt that you can acquire a fair amount of subscribers nowadays, but all the same, they say that kind of achieving fame on the level of, for example, XJaws is no longer possible. They jointly invokes the metaphor of a party to explain their beliefs. To them, the new commentators are like latecomers to a party. The ladies have been taken, the alcohol has been consumed. So what is their point? Well, they say just be yourself. As a commentator, just be yourself. And perhaps this is solid advice for someone making videos in general. But in terms of the Call of Duty community, I actually kind of disagree with them. Not to the extent that I'd advocate being something other than yourself. But what you have to do, as all the famous commentators beforehand, is to begin beyond yourself, to commentate before you become a commentator, to inscribe the video before you open yourself up for inscription. And I'll kind of explain what I mean by this. Millions of reasons exist as to why someone won't make it as a CoD commentator, and we're only thinking about Call of Duty commentators here. For example, if you don't upload very much, or if your commentary's pretty boring, or if you're very abrasive towards your subscribers. But the apex to which all of these commentators aspire is the apex of stardom. Not kind of stardom on the Marilyn Monroe scale, but in the archetypal Marilyn Monroe sense. Cnanners and Hutch are stars because they are idols. Sandy Ravage, XCal, Blame Truth, all of these people are idols. But why are they idolised? Are they idolised for their personalities? Well, hardly. They are no more engaging people than you and I. Crucially, they are, or at least were, idolised for their gameplay. This is the important point here, really. And I bet there are lots of people out there at this point who find themselves in disagreement with me, for several reasons. First, many people such as Woody Wings, FPS Russia, they've become even more popular since they started making videos with their faces in them. Second, there's a general sense among many, not quite all, but many commentators, that not many people want to hear about gameplay anymore. They think that it's all been said. Third, the uncommentated gameplay, which is kind of put at a considerable distance from the commentator, who kind of at this point is not even a commentator, but a mute person in the background, is usually less popular than commentator gameplay nowadays. I agree that this evidence makes it seem as though the commentator, the human behind the gameplay, is the key component of the commentary. Commentaries about the commentator, commentaries that in a sense come after the commentator rather than before, are undoubtedly the prevailing style nowadays among the new commentators. But the principle of stardom doesn't work like this, and it never has in any walk of life. In fact, these new commentators are approaching it from completely the reverse angle. They're approaching it from completely the wrong point of view. Let's start off taking David Beckham, because he's a famous footballer and he's the epitome of stardom. Countless biographies have been written about Beckham, but is he, without the football, or the soccer in some countries, background, an especially interesting person? No. The personality is in itself not what attracts millions of fans to buy, his football shirts with his name and number on the back. The personality is not what sells the autobiographies. Paradoxically, it might seem, it's the performance, or the football skills in this case. People are interested in David Beckham the man because David Beckham was a footballer. He's a star because of years of effort on training fields, perfecting his skills, fine-tuning his strategies, because he was dedicated to his art. And I think we can see a lot of similarities here with someone such as Cnanners, for example. Loads of people out there forget that Cnanners was a notable player and a fantastic tips commentator first, and then a YouTube personality discussing his life second. For example, 2 of his early videos were 2 games on the same World at War map. One was played with a submachine gun, one was played with an assault rifle, and he compared how to use each class on that map. You know, he gave great in-depth tips, he gave really good game-related discussion, and what's more, you know, he put up notable scores as well. Notable skills here. You know, the Call of Duty skills came before anybody was interested in his life. Another example, Hutch. He was one of the first major and famous quickscopers. He did hugely popular tutorials on sniping and did various game-related commentaries, and he acquired notoriety for his skills before anybody was interested in his personality. Take almost any significant YouTube commentator and you'll see that he or she began with something notable beyond the commentator, a skill developed enough to induce idolatry. Some might argue with counterexamples. You know, there are apparently counterexamples in Woody and El Presador. You might say, for example, that they're not particularly skilled players, and yet they've still acquired some great notoriety, seemingly for their personalities. But in this, you'd be making a fatal mistake. You need to be notable, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be skilled. Beckham and Sinanas were first notable because they were skilled, but Woody became notable for his incisive tricks and tips, and El Presador for his poor gameplay and hilarious commentary. Those are their skills, and those came before, you know, Woody ever spoke about his life, or El Presador ever posted pictures of himself knocking down trees. The commentary, which I guess is the privileged side of performance and skill, came in these cases before the commentator. It's true in every case, and in some the commentator is still to be born. I of course allude to the immeasurable mystique that surrounds Sandy Ravage. He's kind of continually evaded personal revelation. He's had other people commentate his videos. He's only recently even begun to put his face in the live streams, but he's still hugely popular. And when he did finally do a dual commentary with Tabe and kind of revealed a little bit about his life, that was hugely popular and has to this date, you know, received about 500,000 views. We're only interested in Sandy Ravage the man because we're intrigued to find out what sort of human being gave birth to the beast that is Sandy Ravage the player. The performance comes before the performer. We're only interested in the man because we want to see, you know, how a man can possibly incorporate this beast of a player. Eighthoughts took Aviator as an example of someone who's doing all the right things but not succeeding. Aviator's doing dual commentaries. He was on Painkiller already, a very popular podcast. You know, he puts up pictures, videos of his life. But these are precisely the wrong things to do for anyone seeking notoriety in the Call of Duty community. In the case of Aviator, he's putting the commentator before the commentary, the wrong thing to do. And of course it's easy for me to say this, but I'll demonstrate exactly kind of where I think he's missing the point and how he's approaching it from the wrong angle. If you go to his first video and look at his first sentence, in fact let's do this. His opening line, and the opening line is always kind of a point of origin that defines so much about what is to come. His opening line is, "Hey guys, my name is Eric, also known as Aviator, and I'm a 25-year-old video game nerd, photographer, pilot and adventurer here in Central Florida." And it's autobiographical at every point, from his location to his hobbies to his age. He's being himself, and of course credit for that, and in fact he's following Eighthoughts' advice in that respect. But he's being himself too early, if that makes any sense. Video games get a brief mention in his opening, but even this is put in terms of a personal trait. Nerd, a word defining the individual and not really the individual's skills, I guess. And I'm sure that Eric is a very interesting person, and you know, all due respect to him, but I actually have no interest in his life because I have no reason to be. He's not a star yet. He's just another man. He's probably accomplished more in the world than Excalisaur's, yet I'd be more inclined to find out about Excalisaur's life than Aviator's. I want to know about the normal man behind the blinding light of stardom. This is why people will read the biography about David Beckham. And for that, the man must be a star first. We've got to see the man as a star before we can be interested in the man as a person. You know, Aviator's video is meticulously planned and edited, and it's a comprehensive and clean introduction video. But the majority of the Call of Duty community, with me included, is interested in Call of Duty primarily. That's why we're called a Call of Duty community. So I would modify their metaphor of the party in this way. So Blame Truth is holding a party. You know, Excalisaur's arrives. It's followed by Hutch, C-Nanas, X-Jaws, a number of others. You know, they're pretty good on the dance floor. You know, they're showing off their dancing skills, putting on a good performance, and they each earn a lot of attention from the ladies, even Excalisaur's. Enough to the point where, you know, the ladies now interested will agree to have a chat with them. They'll allow them to talk about themselves. So C. Neners talks about his interest in making short films, extras, mentions his Mercedes, and Hutch tries to explain why gay sex isn't gay. The conversation goes well and they have success. But while they're chatting about themselves and kind of the night is passing, a new influx of prospective seducers, and by these people I mean, the new commentators, enter the party. They see even Xcal having success, and they think that if he can, they certainly will. So they go straight for the jugular. They go and they have a chat about their lives. But why would anyone be interested in their lives? These guys are all talk and no action. They've proven nothing on the dance floor. They haven't performed, and they thus haven't earned the right to an autobiography. So the conclusion is, before you can reach for the stars, you have to figure out how to get off the ground. And many commentators these days are yet to achieve this.